I was chatting with a colleague at work, and he was telling me about his property that he invested in. And then he asked me, he said, what's the yield you're getting on this? He did the maths, and just as soon as he got that answer, he just stood for a second. He said, whoa, how did you get that? And right, that reaction from him, I knew I made a great choice. Going back a good few years now, I know Ashish quite a while, so we used to work together in the same industry before a long time ago. So he used to talk to me a lot about properties and his investments in properties, and I could tell straight away, every time he was talking to me, his passion and his love for this industry. It's just something that stuck with me all this time. And going back to when I said I'd rather consult somebody who knows what they're talking about, Ashish came to mind first time, just because I just remembered his enthusiasm and his love for the property industry, and I thought he's the man to ask these sort of questions. I'd always wanted to invest in something, but I just didn't know what. So one time I was in the pub with a friend of mine, and we were having a good conversations, as all good investment conversations start. So he said to me, why don't you invest in a property? And I said, oh, you know, I'm not really sure where to start, what to do, etc. And he said, well, look, you should invest in this one here. And I thought to myself, yeah, it's a good idea. Let's have a look at that one. And then I started thinking about it more and more, and I thought, well, hold on a second. Before we go any further, let's consult somebody who knows what they're doing here before we go down that road. Did I have any hesitations before engaging a buyer's agent? Absolutely not. So first of all, it was very daunting. You think about investing in a property and you open up a can of worms, because there's just so much information out there. Everyone's left, right and center is telling you things. You go on real estate and you just, it can be overwhelming, and that's why I said daunting, because there's just so much information. So keeping that in mind, there was absolutely no hesitation to consult somebody who I trusted, who I knew about going down this path. 100%. Actually, I'd say 110%. Not only the fact that I got a great investment, because it was my first one, I didn't know what was involved in purchasing a property. Absolutely nothing. So just the education that I got along the way. Ashish and his team introduced me to great brokers, great accountants, great property managers, all of which I had no idea where to approach, where to go, who to start, who to look at, and so on and so forth. So just the education I got, along with the investment property that I've acquired, is just phenomenal, I think. I was having in the early stages when we went for the property and it was under offer, I was chatting with a colleague at work, and he was telling me about his property that he invested in. And then he asked me, he said, what's the yield you're getting on this? And this is how naive I was. I was like, well, what do you mean by yield? And he goes, oh, you know, okay, just tell me the numbers and we'll do the maths. He did the maths, and just as soon as he got that answer, he just stood for a second. He said, whoa, how did you get that? And right, that reaction from him, I knew I made a great choice. First of all, when Ashish gives you a call and he wants to know your background, he wants to know what's your constraints, what's your limits, what are we working with. So he makes you comfortable all the time. So he doesn't push you to spend more than you're willing to spend. When he searches for a property and he gives you the options, he gives you within your constraints, within what you've agreed with him that you are willing to spend. So just the fact that we stuck within the budget and the outstanding result that we got, 100%, I think we got a great result. I like to think I'm a property expert now, with all the knowledge I gained. No, I'm just joking. Yes, I do. Anytime I chat to friends and family and tell them about my story, and I try to explain to them of where I came from, where I had zero knowledge, I didn't know anything about the industry, and just how helpful they were. And even if they have any questions, if they're just maybe thinking about going down the path of investing in a property or purchasing a property, just have a chat with them. They make you feel at ease. There's no obligation for anything. You know, it's at the end of the day, you're getting education as well. So yeah, I always recommend them to everyone and anyone who wants to talk about properties.